Hall last Friday night. Great turnout. A lot of voters had some really good questions. I was very proud to be able to host that and bring an unbiased stance to the city and let everyone have a moment to speak. Mr. Rick Thornton was there Friday night. We drilled the candidates pretty hard, didn't we?
Yes, you did.
And we asked a lot of good questions. Just to start out, Mr. Rick, if you don't mind, tell the people who you are, what you're running for, and why you're running.
Okay, I am Rick Thornton. I'm running, well, probably walking. I don't run very good. Uh,
Neither do I anymore.
there you go. Yeah, old age gets you.
Yeah.
I'm running for West Ward Alderman, um, and I'm doing it because somebody needs to. I want to try to help get the city back on track. Um, and you want to know a little bit about me, right?
I'd like to. Yeah.
Well, I'm old. Uh, anyway,
You're
no,
not that old. You're a spring chicken,
yeah, right.
a late spring.
Yeah, really, spring.
Yeah, I'm just
Um,
playing.
I moved here about it's going on 11 years now, um, and I've been coming down here most of my life. A lot of people that have lived here very long probably knew my uncle Larry Willis.
Hmm.
He moved down here somewhere around 50 years or so ago. So I've come down here a good portion of my life off and on. Deer hunted down here, just come down to visit, just basically anything I could come down here for, I did. Grandpa moved down here. Um, I grew up just kind of loving this town.
Hmm.
And when we moved down here, I mean, it's not the same town I thought I was going to move down here to. I remember it was beautiful. There was all kinds of stuff always going on down here. When I brought my kids down, we kayaked, we canoed, we did whatever. Um, and I mean, it's like I said, there was always something going on, and I'd like to see it come back to that. A lot of stuff is just gone that was here back in the 80s, 90s,
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah, a lot of business went out, nothing replacing it. A lot of abandoned buildings. Just the city's overall has declined. The city's on the decline. That scares me.
Exactly. I mean, I remember there's still some of the murals on the
Hmm.
walls that were there. I mean, I remember when those were fresh. I mean, I'm that old. Uh, yeah, and it's there used to be factories around. There used to be all that stuff, and now when the kids when they graduate high school, I mean, basically, I think all kids, well, most of them they either learn to go out and cut logs in the woods or they go out on the river boats or something to make a living because
Hmm.
they can't do anything else. And I mean, I kind of got trapped in Kansas City when I was up there. I wanted to move down here, but there was just different things trapped me,
Hmm.
and I wasn't able to move until after I retired. And so I'm down here doing this. And Devin, when your kids grow up, I'd like to see them be able to stay here,
Me too.
uh, and make a decent living. But to do that, we're going to have to bring this town back to life,
I agree.
and that's what I want to see happen. Is just put it back together like it used to be. Bring some business, some small business, some medium sized business, some just businesses
Hmm.
that actually can pay living wages so that all the kids don't have to take off right after high school, and then basically come back and retire to this town. I mean, I don't want to see a retirement community here.
Yeah.
I want to see a vibrant living community where people live, they spend their life here, they work here, they just live here, make a decent living, and stay.
I couldn't agree more. And what you just said, that's a tale as old as time for Mountain View. Is I moved down here after I retired because what is a working man going to do around here? Like you said, you got the logwoods, you got mechanic, you got trucking, everything else. We export our necessities and our needs, and we export our youth. You're going to the riverboat, you're going to the railroad, you're going to the pipeline, welding, whatever trucking, whatever it is. The young folks are leaving this town in droves, to in search of a better life, to live the American dream, that is buy a house, raise your family, have the government stay out of your life, all that stuff, that we love down here in small town USA. Well, they can get that, but they have to send dad off to whatever state, whatever part of the country to be able to make it work around here, and it's sad because Mountain View is or Missouri, mid Missouri, is one of the cheapest place to live in the United States as is. So the fact that we don't have good enough paying jobs to be able to keep them here with how cheap everything is anyway, it's sad. We've lost Fab, the old Angelica building. It used to be a factory, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we lost these factories that they employed a big portion of our town, and then those go. There's nothing to fill that hole, and people are left to, you know, survive. And so they go on the road and they leave. They're not buying groceries here. They're not buying gas. They're not spending their tax returns here. You know, they're going across the country just to make a living, and that's something I would like to see as well changed in this town.
Well, exactly, and that's one of those deals. You hit on it really well because people go out and I mean it's like dad's out on the road, so mom's raising the kids. Dad comes home and visits them,
Yeah.
and any money that when they make it on the road, and they might come back here and spend it, but then again they might not.
Well, and the inevitability of it all is that the dad's going to be like, I'm tired of being away from my kids and my wife. Why don't you guys just move up here with me and we'll come back to Mountain View after we retire, or whatever the case may be, to the little plot of family land they have. You know, so, and I'm not knocking anyone that works on the road. You know, God bless you for being able to do it. I would hate to be away from my daughter if I had to for long extended periods of time, but I get you have to do what you got to do to make it work. You know, it's sad that our city's in the point of that's what dads have to do. You know, we want the family, we want the nuclear family here. We want them to raise their kids, not have to send them out to a big city or a different state to make money. You know.
Well, and that's what kept me from moving down here earlier, is I wanted to come down here. Well, basically all my life I wanted to come down here, but to make a living, I had to live someplace where I could make a living, and down
Yeah.
here wasn't it. I mean, yes, I was a truck driver, but I was also one of those that Grandpa made me make a promise to him while he was alive that if I was going to drive a truck, I had to be home every night.
Yeah.
If I was going to have kids. All right. Well, I had
It's a good
kids.
promise.
Oh yeah, yeah. The old man was right. I
Yeah.
mean, we can all learn something from the old codgers.
Yeah, we can.
Well, I'm one of those old codgers
Yeah.
now. Hopefully you can learn something from me. But the kids need dad at home. They don't need him on the road.
Yeah.
And if we're going to make this town survive, we're going to need it to where, and if we can have some businesses in this town that pay decent, then we can be the ones that we have mom and dad working here or dad working here. We have the factories here. We have something here that the people come here and they work. Then they spend their money in our town and not go to West Plains or whatever town that they have to go to work and spend their money there. Make them spend, get them to come here to work. They make their money in this town. They spend their money in this town. And if they work in this town and they live in another one, well, that's okay. Spend their money here, but let's attract them here.
Yeah.
Attract the tax dollars here and improve this town. Do I want to see this town as big as Kansas City? Well, heck no.
Yeah.
I don't. If I wanted to live in a big town, I wouldn't have moved here. And
But we need a prosperous town.
exactly, we need to have enough to where we can make a living here and prosper. That's a good word for it. Let's prosper. I mean, we don't want to explode it to where we're living in a huge town.
Exactly.
But we want to be able to make it to where we can stay here, we can prosper, we can all make a living and stay at home. And the kids can grow up here, raise their families here. And you know what? Grandma and grandpa can be here and then see their grandkids and their grandkids grow up here. I mean, if that's not the dream that you have, well,
Yeah, that's my
maybe you
dream.
need a better dream.
Yep. Well, and the businesses we do have here, a lot of them are super old. They've been here a long time, and as the business declines, so does business. We if we don't start bringing things up and getting people in and start energizing our local economy, then we're going to just see more businesses go out, and that's what I'm super scared of seeing.
Exactly. I mean, a town is kind of like a business. It's either going to be growing or it's dying. And in this town, it hasn't been growing for a long time, and I don't want to see Mountain View die.
I
I
agree.
really don't want to. I mean, if you look around, there's ghost towns in this town, not in this town. There's ghost towns in this country. There's ghost towns in this state, and I don't want to see Mountain View be one.
And that kind of brings us, we're talking about the conditions of the town and, want to see it prosper and everything. The big thing on voters' minds and on their questions the other night was road conditions. Do you think you can help fix that? What do you think? What does that look like to you?
Road conditions is great. That's a great topic. I mean, I hate the road conditions in Mountain View because I don't like replacing the front end parts on my truck. And I drive a 3/4 ton, and it's a little bit rough on the front end of that truck. And
That's bad. It sucks.
oh yeah, yeah, I've seen gravel roads that are smoother than our roads. And the way we're going to fix them, I mean, Mountain View does not have the money to replace these roads. I mean, let's just
Yeah,
be
we're a grant reliant town.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, right up front, that's the way we're going to get it. And right now, the city is in the process of getting grants. I mean, there's and oh, somebody they said the letters of it. I don't remember what the letters of the grants are working on right now, but there was surveys that had gone out.
Oh yeah, for the poverty line.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Miss Coulter, she touched on that last night, and she was talking that we failed that the first time that the surveys were, so they had to actually hit the streets and knock on doors to bring us back so we can qualify for these grants. Because it looked like people from Mountain View made too much money to qualify for the grants, when in actuality they were just getting sent to the richest or the most wealthiest 1% of our town. So, and not by design. It's just it ended up those surveys going, or the ones who turned them in were the ones making above the average income rate in Mountain View.
well, the way it was explained to me, it wasn't that if the first time that they went out, nobody actually sent them back.
Okay.
And okay, and when they didn't return them, nobody did anything about it. They just kind of let it go. And that was before. Well, when
That was under the previous administration. Okay.
and so they
John?
just kind of dropped the ball.
Okay. So
Right.
John Krasuski dropped the ball.
Right, John Krasinski. Well, I wasn't going to use names, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do that. I'll let you. And I'm not going to argue. But this administration, okay, in the last year, they picked that ball back up and they said, why did we not get these grants? And they took the initiative to go out and knock on the doors and say, would you fill this out? And from what I hear, that was really exciting. And
Yeah, they had some dogs running, chasing them, and everything else.
exactly. And they had doors slammed. I mean, I heard the stories about it, and I wasn't part of that. I would have loved to have been. I would have been happy to have helped them. But they went out. They got these surveys filled out, and now these grants are back on track. The other problem that they had with it is during the previous administration, they didn't do the audits, which is required by the state.
What? Didn't do the. He sat there and he said that his books were balanced.
Well, that was I'm going to use the word fabrication.
All right. Well, let's use that word. That's a very good word.
Yeah.
So books weren't balanced and the audits weren't done. We know that for a fact.
Oh, exactly.
So-
yeah, that's a matter of public record.
Yeah.
That the audits weren't done. Well, this administration also has got the audits are in process now to take care of his lack of doing what he was supposed to. Let's say it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're now with the audits in process. One of the things that and I'm going to touch on one other thing that we're going to run down this rabbit trail.
Absolutely. Chase that white rabbit.
Yeah, we're going to chase it down. have it.
Yeah, it has some awesome pepper.
There you go. They almost lost the airport grants because the audits weren't done. Well, when they found out that I'm not sure who the people were, but they checked to see, are the audits being done? If the audits hadn't been done, the city would have lost the grants for the airport that are the runways being done, and would have had to have paid back the amount of money that was already done. Yeah, that town would have been
Been in the hole even more.
there you go. That's a nice way to put it. But because the audits are in process, they said, okay, we'll let you go and we'll go ahead and continue this. Anyway, back to the streets. The audits being done is going to make it to where once the audits are caught up, then we are eligible to be able to go on with these, to be able to get grants. So between, once we get past the problems that the previous administration left for us, then we can get the grants to be able to fix the streets. So because he jacked up the town so bad.
Yeah. And, Judy, did you watch the interview last night?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I think
so
she
you
did
heard
an
everything
awesome
she
job.
said about how bad our finances were. And we were about to go bankrupt, and thank God we were able to stop that that snowball from going all the way down the hill.
Oh yeah, that snowball was about to take us.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's happened now? It's kind of like the snowball was going down a hill. Well, it's
Yeah, we got it
we hit
going
the
back up.
valley,
Yeah.
and now the snowball is
Staying put.
yeah, it's pretty much stopped. Where I mean, now the sun's coming out, the snowball's getting smaller, and the town is doing much better.
Yeah.
And this is everything I say. It's public record. You
Yeah.
can get it. And with the audits being done, then we can find out just exactly how bad he was destroying stuff. Because when you don't have any audits done,
Yeah, we don't know.
exactly. We know he jacked it up. You just don't know exactly how bad. I mean, it's like when you wreck your car, until you get the estimates all done, you don't know how bad.
Well, and that, and they were just playing. I mean, without balance books and without the audits, you see your cash flow coming in, you see it going out, but you don't know the bills that need to be paid that were done prior, or you're kind of in this limbo state of trying to figure it out.
Right, and now we're in a state to where it's pretty close. I mean, you got a pretty good idea, and now we're at the point to where we can start working on grants.
Yeah.
And they're working on it. So the light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah,
it's
we
not
see
a
it.
train.
Yeah.
I mean, that we know that. So I mean, there is light at the end of the tunnel now,
Mm-hmm.
guys. So the streets, they're gonna get fixed. So
It just
hang
takes
in
time
there.
and money.
It's gonna get there. We see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and
Well,
it just takes time to get there. I mean, when you've got a hole that's been dug this deep, you got to get it filled in. But I mean, so it is being worked on. You just can't fix it all overnight.
exactly. It didn't take one night for it to get like this. It's not going to take a day to get out. But I think their important thing is that whoever is elected tomorrow puts a priority on this and is like, we are going to figure out how to at least start getting this done.
Well, the foundation work for getting it done is already there. So what I'm looking at, I mean, what I'm personally looking at is build on the foundation that's already there, and the wheels of grants are slow turning.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And and it's going to be, let's continue to turn them. In the meantime, we'll continue to. I know this is not what anybody wants to hear. It's not what I want to hear, and it's not what I want to say. But doggone it, you got to say it. Between now and then, we'll patch potholes the best that we can patch them. The previous guys that were the last street crew that the last supervisor on the street crew, they were just dumping the pothole mix in there.
Yeah.
They weren't cleaning the poles. They weren't doing anything with them. Every time a rain would come, it'd just wash it right back out. They are cleaning the holes. They're trying to make, they're doing it to where it will actually stay in the holes.
Well, good.
So even in that, I know that's not much. That's kind of like holding up a Bic lighter in a dark cave.
Yeah.
But
it's
there's
a work in
bit
progress.
there's a little bit of light. So
Well, the first thing the city has to do is get its finances in order to see what it can afford, what it can't, and then, like you said, have to get these audits done so we can get the grants to be able to do this.
exactly. So we got to walk before we can run. So guys, we've taken the first step, and I understand what it takes to take the second one. So there you go.
Well, perfect.
There's a plan.
Okay. Before we continue the interview, I want to give a big shout out to Dev Talk Podcast first sponsor, H&H Sales and Dirksen Portable Buildings. If you're anywhere in the Midwest and you need a shed, workshop, tiny home, cabin, or portable building, these guys offer some of the best quality for the best price you're going to find. And if they don't have exactly what you want sitting on the lot, then they can custom build it to fit exactly what you need. They also do metal structures, single carports, double and triple wide carports, RV covers, A-frame buildings, garages, even warehouse-style buildings. Anything you guys want, they can build it. So call the people down at H&H Sales and Dirksen Portable Buildings. You can order in person by appointment, over the phone, directly through their website, which makes it super easy. If you've ever gotten value from this show and want to support the businesses that support us, go check them out at MammothSpringsShed.com. Call 417-372-7310. That's MammothSpringsSheds.com. And when you talk to them, tell them Dev Talks Podcast sent you. Thank you. Now back to the show. All right. Now, we talked a lot about these road conditions. It's a work in progress. We're going to get there. Another big thing that was on the city or on the voters' mind was talking about a city administrator. That's a question I didn't even think about, and it was a contentious one a few years ago. So I think it's something very important to talk about. How do you feel about the city having one? Like, what is your stance? Should the city have an administrator? Should it not? Where do you stand on this?
Well, this city is set up to have a city administrator. That's part of the way, that's like I say, that's the way it's set up. The city administrator, the job title tells what it is. They administer it. The council sets up basically they set up the rules, and the administrator administers them.
Black and white, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like I say, it's pretty
Yeah.
self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Basically, they're over the crews, and they watch. They communicate with the supervisors, and the supervisors obviously supervise. So I mean it's pretty self-explanatory on that.
Yeah.
They also are in charge of. They go out and look for the grants. Like for the streets and anything else. I mean, grants is a pretty broad term.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, there was a swimming pool grant, which when they got that blew me away.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was, well, that's been several years back, but I mean, there are grants for things that I've heard of them for just unreal things. I mean, the police department gets them all the time, but the police chief takes care of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he takes care of his own department, but I mean, the administrator takes care of just all the day-to-day operations of the city.
Well, it's not like we pay a mayor a full-time salary. So we can't expect a mayor to spend 40 hours a week inside City Hall fixing all this stuff. And that's why we have a city administrator, because, I mean, our mayor is, I mean, they get paid, what, maybe $100 a month, something like that. So can't expect them to be in there 24/7. And that's what our city administrator is supposed to do, right? In lieu of them, and then go to the mayor if needed.
Exactly, and that's what they do. But you hit it exactly. The city administrator, more or less, is the one that runs the city and does all that stuff. You've got a city clerk that the city clerk takes care of the books and the city hall, and then the administrator basically takes care of the rest of the city operations. I mean, and you heard John the other night talking about the operations manager, which was pretty much a joke. That's a job that is non-existent. It was a made up job.
Okay.
But the administrator, that's the person that takes care of the basic operations day to day of pretty much all of the city. They administer everything in there and looking for the grants, like I said. And,
So a good
it's
city administrator could pay for itself, if you get the right person in there.
a good city administrator will more than pay for themselves, and it's not $100,000 a year job. That's nowhere near that. In this city, they pay the administrator like 50 to 60,000.
Yeah. Modest paying job. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if we could afford $100,000, yes, it would be great. But
Yeah, because you could find a super awesome one for that much money,
exactly. But Mountain View Mountain View does not have the kind of money to pay that.
No.
So, you get one that in this town, you more or less get somebody that they're doing it for the love of, they want to do it. And they were talking, I don't remember which person it was that brought it up, that we've gone through 2 city administrators this year, which is true.
Yeah. And concerning,
But, well, it is, depending on how you look at it. Now, if you look at it in factual terms, it's not that concerning.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, the fact was that when they hired the first one, she came in on a condition that she was going to be there for a short time.
Gotcha.
They hired her knowing that she came in, I believe it was like September or so. I don't remember the exact month that she came in, but she came in as a temporary thing.
Gotcha.
She said, I'm going to start on this date, and I will be here, I believe it was through the end of the year.
Gotcha.
And she was there as a temporary thing to try to help get things that were in a disaster. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to try to clean these things up. And if you hire another one while I'm here, I will help this person get things going. Well, that was the agreement with the council when they came in. Now they're trying to make it sound like, oh, we can't hold on to a city administrator. Well, that's fiction. You know, if you hire a temporary person and they leave,
Yeah. Doing what? Yeah, it was
they're
all
doing-
expected. Yeah.
right, that's
Okay.
that's the job that you hired
But
them
you know,
for.
like there's some citizens they
Now-
don't know this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's good. It's good to talk about this to let them, because it's like, oh, okay, connect the dots now. You know, we hired a temp. Now we had a temp. You know.
Exactly. And Friday I didn't have the time to go into that.
Yeah.
Now the second one was somebody that came in and apparently just wasn't a good fit for the job.
But you
Okay.
have that. Yeah.
Right, and that happens. Okay, so we've had one person that came in and did the job that she was hired for, and went on about her business. The second one came in and wasn't a good fit for the job and said, "I quit." Okay, it happens. Now now it's time that we're going to have to find somebody else. Hopefully, we'll find somebody that actually fits the job.
And there's nothing wrong with, you know, just keep posting it until we find that qualified candidate.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's with any job. You know, whenever I try to hire someone, it's not like I hire someone within the first week. You know, you have to go through and find the right pick or the right one for the job.
Well,
you know?
exactly. And you're in business. Have you ever hired something? Anybody that's listening to me that runs a business, have you ever hired anybody that just didn't fit? I mean, we've all made that mistake. When I was in management, it wasn't. I mean,
Yeah,
there were
it
several
happens.
times that it happened,
Absolutely.
and that's what happened to the city.
So, are you for a city administrator? Or?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
by all means, because if you don't have one, then you're in the position to where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor is having to try to fill in for the city administrator, and the mayor is just like what you said. It's a part-time position,
Yeah.
and now you have a mayor that's in there doing a job and trying to do what they're not in. They were never elected to do.
Mm-hmm.
Probably aren't qualified to do.
Yeah.
And the city just doesn't operate right when you have, well, like under John's administration,
Oh,
when you
man.
didn't
Yeah.
have one, and you see the train wreck that was.
No, yeah, he just tried to take over everything and do it, and I mean, he just led to a complete disaster within Mountain View. What I thought was hilarious, I know we'll get back on track in just a minute, but I do want to make this point. What I thought was so hilarious Friday night, and you were there, you can attest to it. You know, I was not biased. I asked everyone the same question. I treated everyone fairly and equally, and you know, just because him and I have had our differences in the past didn't mean I was going to treat him any differently. You know, some things ensued afterwards that we still got some talking about that needs done with John on how he treats women and children. But hey, that's fine. You know, we'll figure that out when we can. Because if you're a man, you come talk to a man. You don't come talk to a woman. You don't come talk to children. You come talk to the man. Spineless cowards do that. Anyway, what I thought.
Whoever you have a difference with, you settle your differences with the person you have the difference with.
Absolutely, you know, but I think it's hilarious because it shows the measure of the man, you know, and
Yes.
and and that's why I tell people is like when people tell you who they are, take them for their word, you know, when they show you who they are, that's who they are, you know, take them for what they say.
Exactly.
But what I thought was hilarious at that meeting, you know, and I didn't do much pushing back because it just wasn't the time or place. The voters were there to ask questions, and I wanted as much information. And then, you know, we could get into rebuttaling stuff, you know, on the podcast or whatever else. But anything good that happened in the town, he was like, oh, yeah, the mayor's petition did that. You know, and then if it was something bad, he's like, "Oh no, the mayor don't. The mayor has no power. That's all the council. The council is very important." So on the good things, it was the mayor. But on the bad things, it was the council has the power. The mayor don't have any power. It's like, pick a lane, dude. You know,
Yes.
pick your lane. Can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. It doesn't work for you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I thought that was kind of funny. Little off track, but, you know, we're still kind of processing and going through everything that happened on Friday night. And I just thought that was something that needed to be addressed. You know, like you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth, you know. Back to our interview, you know, talking about, you know, we talked about roads, we talked about a city administrator, and I think these things kind of just fall in with each other, and the importance they kind of line up and spider web connect the dots, whatever you will. Mountain View has a lot of abandoned properties. It has a bunch of rent buildings. Has some dilapidated structure and infrastructure and everything. It's a big concern for our town, and it does make our town look bad. If you were elected, what do you think about all that type of infrastructure and rent buildings and abandoned houses? And how can the city work towards just cleaning it all up, cleaning up the town, and just giving everything a good sprucing?
Well, we're going to have to start working towards some accountability.
Okay.
And with that, I mean, it's one of those deals that I'm not for, trying to climb down people's throats.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I'm against that. But we're going to have to figure out, first off, you go out and you find out, you look around and it's obviously there. And you start out with find out whose it is and get with the people and say, what's up?
Yeah.
I
Why
mean,
isn't this being cleaned up? Can you not afford it? What's going on? Yeah.
Exactly. And, and if you find out it's, some little lady that's on a fixed income and, or, I say little old lady, it could
Yeah.
be a little old man, whatever.
Absolutely.
But, little
get
old
you.
lady just comes to mind.
I'm tracking.
And, if it's something that can be helped, well, you try to put them in touch with the charities or whatever, with somebody that can help them. I mean, because that's one of those deals that, okay, and here's going to come a little about me. I grew up I was raised by a single mother. My dad died when I was 4. And I always did stuff with grandma and grandpa, and we helped the old people. And I was just raised, you help people. Well, it's the same thing. You help people. Well, if it's old people or the disabled and I have a soft spot for veterans. And if especially if it falls into that class, well, there's somebody around town. There's something. There's churches. There's charities. There's something that there's always going to be somebody that can help them.
Yeah.
And as a community, let's see if we can't match up with, if it's veterans, well, there's veterans organizations that might help them. If it's the older things, there's places that help people. Why can't we try to get these people together and,
So just kind of providing them the resources that could already be out there to help, and educating them on that.
there we go.
Yeah.
Connect the resources to the people.
Yeah, that's a good.
Or
idea.
the people to the resources, whichever way it was supposed to be said there. Figure,
Well, it's
yeah,
one of
just
those.
hook the people up with who can help them.
Well, it's one of those they win, we win situations. If I'm sure no one likes having a ratty place or an abandoned building. No one likes seeing that. No one likes having it. But the economy's hard right now. People can't afford to do much. I mean, everything's it's super hard. So being able to connect them or even having volunteers in the community be able to do something, that'd be cool.
Exactly. Well, and it's something else that could also possibly happen is you get a hold of the court system because there's people that are going to be out there that need to do community service.
Yeah, that's very true.
Why couldn't they do their community service cleaning up this ratty looking property?
Mow a property. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's just,
it's a good point.
and our police chief, I bet you would help with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is a good point. Use that resource that is already there, especially community service. That used to be a huge thing whenever I was a kid. Like, if you got in trouble, you were worried about doing community service or something. Not that I was a horrible kid, but I mean, I was ornery. But you don't hear much about community service anymore, especially around here, So I don't know. Maybe I'm just not ornery anymore. So I've never been arrested or nothing, but it's just when we were a kid, that was the thing you thought, like you talked, it's like, if you do this, you get arrested and have community service,
Well, yeah, I remember hearing about that when I was, I never did it either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember hearing about all that stuff.
And maybe it's just because I'm not a kid no more and I don't hear about it. But that was just something that always went on in my circles as teenagers. Is if you get in trouble, you could have community service. That's funny. So this is a pretty contentious election, to say the least. There we got some very big egos, some hotheads. I mean, like the fireworks Friday nights. After we got some big egos in there. Are you? Do you feel like you're going to be able to work with whoever the people decide to elect if you're elected?
Uh,
And how will you do so? You know.
Oh, I don't really see it being a problem. I mean, it's the ones. Okay, the ones that are already there. The two that are going to be remaining.
Mm-hmm.
I've had talked with them, and we get along great.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be no problem. Um, the other aldermen, either one that would be elected, that I don't see it being a problem.
Yeah, they seem to both have a heart for the community. And that's the main thing I think is having a heart for the community.
Yeah, I mean everybody that's on the ballot.
Almost.
Yeah, yeah. I
Almost.
did my face give that away.
Don't you do the eye rolls?
Okay, you
Yeah, I'm
saw
just
it.
kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll tell my face to use its inside voice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think we'll work it out. I mean, there was one that in the past had a track record of doing some crazy things, but you know what? It's one of those deals that in the past I've always been able to get along with everybody,
Think you can
and
continue that?
I believe I can continue that. And if not, we will work it out because in the past one had yeah, he decided that he was going to go outside, but I don't play that game. I mean, we handle things within,
Yeah.
and it will be. I mean, there's no reason in the world that you can't work things out. Um, we're all adults,
Yeah.
and we need to act like that.
I agree.
And I don't see any reason in the world not to just work things out between you.
And that brings me to another thing. This this council that we have right now, we haven't seen it near as much. But the one prior to that, it was chaos. I mean, we had the mayor trying to get the police to take them into a closed session that they didn't vote on. We've seen people trying to be kicked off the council, by the mayor, all this kind of stuff that's happened. This new council, it seems like everyone gets along pretty good. We don't see all the childish stuff, So if you were to be elected and you did have a disagreement, how would you go about that? Like just, being up there, you don't agree, you're trying to talk it out, how would you go about settling those differences?
Well, just like you said, I mean, you just talk it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those deals that I've been, over the years, and yeah, I've been around a couple of years, and I've been in heated discussions before, and it's just, I mean, it's one of those deals that I just, I don't know. I've learned over the years that you just talk it out, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference to me how heated you want to get.
Yeah.
You're not going to get me that excited because tomorrow's a new day, and I'm still going to get up and I'm still going to be me. And if you want to be mad at me today, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can probably be mad at me tomorrow.
Yeah.
And my grandma, she was an awesome old lady, and she taught me something. You can probably get glad in the same shorts you got.
Yep. Yep.
And that's kind of the way I've learned to handle things.
Yeah.
You can get mad and you can scream and you can holler and you can cuss me and you can do whatever you want. And
Well, and
then we're gonna end up. You may not be my friend,
yeah.
but you're also not gonna get me to. It's just not going to affect things
Yeah.
because you're not going to get me. You're just not going to get much of an action out of me. We're going to work it out, or
Oh, and that's like on the council, and I do truly believe 90% of the people who are elected want what's best for the town. They all just think about going in a different way,
Right.
so everyone just being on the same page of what is best for Mountain View. If they can just start there and then figure out the minor differences out that on how to get there, I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. As long as you're looking out for Mountain View, and if you're not looking out for what's best for Mountain View, and you're just trying to start a fight with me, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Because I just don't fight well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten way too old to fight,
Yep.
and
I understand.
so it doesn't work. And once you chill out and you decide that you want to talk, we'll talk.
Yeah.
And when you want to fight, well, I'll sit back and
Put your
wait
pants
for you.
on. You're going to get mad and glad in them, huh?
There you go, because I'm just not gonna fight with you.
And I know I keep going back to like the previous council and stuff like that, but it's all very important, and the mayor and everything else, because it kind of spotlighted like what one chaotic administration can do to a town like of our size. It doesn't. It can be on the up and up for so long, but one chaotic administration or one bad actor in there can really just knock everything off track and screw it up for years to come. And I wrote this question down. Finances for the city are starting to finally get back to where they need to be. And, Miss Coulter's interview last night was very enlightening on a bunch of things that I didn't even know, or, on how bad it truly was. And she was able to go into great detail about how bad it was. The finances are finally are kind of coming back to normal, or the new normal. Things are starting to look up. How would you continue that to be a good steward for the people's money to ensure we don't slip down that same path that Mr. Krasuski's administration put us down?
Well, to start out with, you keep things going the way they are, and you keep the audits done, you keep things in the general ledgers, you make sure that everything is that the city clerk is doing her job and keeping things taken care of right. You watch the budget, you watch what all the departments are spending. I believe it was grandma or grandpa, one of them always told me, you watch the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And, you just watch what's going out. You fix things in-house. You do all the work in Mountain View. You don't send, if you can fix it here, you take care of it here. Mm-hmm. You don't send it out to be done. And, you watch all of it. You stay in budget. You don't do a lot of frivolous spending.
Yeah.
And it'll take care of itself. And I think that'll pretty well take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And I know election time, you always talk about a lot of the negatives of Mountain View, what's wrong with it, what needs change, what is the biggest thing that you want to see changed in Mountain View? Whether that be, the roads getting fixed, or bringing new businesses in, or whatever it is. What does Rick Thornton? What's your biggest priority to see changed inside of Mountain View?
Well, you hit a couple of them.
Yeah.
What I want to see, we obviously need business,
Yeah.
but to bring business, what you've got to do is work on the infrastructure.
Okay.
The roads we've already talked about, because with the almost gravel roads that we have and all the potholes that we have, nobody wants to drive down that.
No.
You come to Mountain View and you look at that and you just say, let me get my car out here before it dies. Mm-hmm. In the infrastructure, you've got to, before you pave roads, you put the sewers under there and you get them right. You got to have the water system fixed. You need that right. We're always having water main breaks.
Yeah.
So let's get the water system fixed. And something that nobody ever talks about is the electric system around town.
Okay.
It's old. It's basically antiquated. It needs to be upgraded, and get that up to speed, because we're all talking about we need new business. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, new business would be great if our power grid could handle it.
Yeah.
But you bring in a decent business,
Like a decent sized one.
yeah,
Yeah.
and our power grid couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we had a chance to do, and I hate continually going back and beating up on the past, but when the Beta Technologies was coming in, and for people that don't understand what Beta Technologies is, if they weren't watching it, it's when the electric airplanes wanted to come in. Mm-hmm. And that was right on the verge of being signed. Donnie Pruitt had that going, and they were wanting to put the three-phase over to the airport. That was one of the best things that could have happened to this town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would have been three-phase,
right?
And three-phase that it.
Do you understand the importance of three-phase
I do not.
over there?
Okay. I do not. I don't know much about electric.
I know enough to make me dangerous.
Yeah.
So Alan, don't come and shoot me tomorrow. Three-phase is what your industrial runs off of.
Okay.
Okay, right now it's not across 17. It's expensive to get it over there. Okay, Beta Technologies was going to take that over there for us.
Gotcha.
And people that have a business that have businesses like the old Angelica building on the other side of 17 don't want it to cross because that would open up a whole new industrial side.
Gotcha.
Okay, it was killed by,
Mr. Krasinski?
yeah,
Okay.
okay, because if three phase gets across there, then businesses could have opened up over there. That would have opened up a whole new industrial area that could have been opened up over there. Okay, that would have been great for Mountain View because look at all that land that's over there. The three phase, once it's crossed under that highway, now you've opened up a whole new world.
So just one of those, like, and we talked about that last night, was missed opportunities.
Right, it's a huge missed opportunity, and the expense that's gonna that would have saved the town by moving it over there was huge.
And that was just for them to be able to charge their planes en route, correct?
Right. The charge the airplanes en route, and it would have also had, I don't remember if it was UPS or FedEx that was talking about possibly bringing in their trucks. So that would have been another possibility for the airport, which the airport is something else that a lot of people don't understand. We have a lifeline airport.
What's
Okay, lifeline airport means that if it's a medical lifeline airport, so that if there's like if there's a transplant, like a heart transplant or an organ transplant going to happen. Okay, if it's flying across the country and they need to refuel that airplane, Mountain View's airport is the one that they're going to land in to refuel, not West Plains, not Pomona, not not the surrounding airports. It will be Mountain View. Okay, if the transplanted organ is coming out of West Plains Hospital, they will transport that organ to Mountain View to be picked up. So we have a very important airport. And because we are a lifeline airport, that means that it's easier for us to get grants. So having that airport and having it a lifeline airport makes it to where our town can get grants easier for things. So, and
very interesting. I had no idea. I've never heard that before. I had no idea that we were that.
yeah, well, and that makes us it's kind of a privilege for us to have that. Well, that makes our town important. Now, that's one of those reasons why we have to protect that airport. We can't do stupid. Sorry,
No, you're fine.
I get
Yeah.
I get a little
Yeah, you're good.
wound up on things, but we can't do stupid things with that airport. We have to protect that airport at all costs because that's a lifeline to our town. And as long as we have that, it will help us to make it easier to get grants for that town.
Wow.
So, we have to protect it. And it's one of those things that we have to watch out for. So, we had a missed opportunity on it. We can't let other things jeopardize that.
Well, that kind of brings me right into my next question because it was, how do you feel the city can utilize what it already has? And, the airport is definitely one of those, what other things do you think Mountain View has, like enticers or things that could help bring people into our town that are underutilized or need to be more utilized, or what are your thoughts?
Well, we've got a golf course, which,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not a golfer. I'll admit that. From what I understand, and one of these days I'm going to go out there and look at that golf course.
Yeah.
I'm going to just go out and I'm going to ask Arnie if he'll take me for a ride around it, which I bet he will.
It's a pretty golf course.
Well, that's what I've heard. It's beautiful now.
Yeah, now
I've also heard that a couple of years ago it looked like a sand trap,
it was in bad shape.
and I hear that it's been turned around to where it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, I'm very proud of the current golf course administrator and how much work he's done on that. I mean, in 2 years' time, it has turned completely around from what it was. Used to we went out there to try to golf a few times, and it was just like, why are we even trying? We're losing balls because nothing's mowed. It was in bad shape. So obviously we would just go to another golf course, but they've really brought that back, and it's vibrant, it's beautiful, the greens are playable. I mean, it's a nice golf course.
Well, okay, and that's so you just answered the question I was
Yeah,
going to ask you.
yeah.
You're a golfer, right?
Yeah,
Well, and from what I understand
not
it,
a good one, but I'm a golfer. I'm not good at golf, but
well, you have fun.
I have fun. Yeah.
See, and that's what's important. We all have to have something where we have fun at,
Yeah.
whether we're good or not. That's a whole
Let
different
me
story.
rephrase. I have fun whenever I hit a good hit. If I don't, no, I'm not having much fun, but I'm still playing.
Well, you knock a ball around.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, and that's from what I understand. Golf tournaments can bring in a lot of money for
Yeah,
a
they
town.
can.
And
One thing about golfers is they are bougie, and I mean they don't mind spending a little money on some drinks or some food or whatever, or beer or whatever else it is, because golfers are bougie.
well, and yeah, and golfers don't mind. Just like you said, they don't mind giving up some money.
Yeah.
Okay, so and that brings me to that's exactly what I'm thinking about. As they come in, we can have. I mean, you you have golf tournaments, and they will come in. You don't have them every weekend because obviously people just like you want to play golf on
Yeah.
weekends, and they work during the week.
Yep.
But
Yeah. Only time I can
but
get out there is Saturday or Sunday.
right, and you so every weekend you don't have a golf tournament,
Yeah.
but you can have golf tournaments. I don't know how often, once a month or whatever. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously I've already told you I don't play golf.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you can have golf tournaments.
Yeah.
But you can have some golf tournaments out there.
And then, the school uses it for their golf tournaments, that they do for the varsity kids and the JV kids, and I tell you what, that's a very good path to college nowadays, because, that's a hard sport. And we have a young lady in Mountain View who she went to state for it. She went to state, and she placed very well. I would be lying if I told you where she placed, but, just the fact we have a lady golfer here that went to state, without that golf course at her disposal, then maybe she wouldn't have been where she's at. So it's important for the children too.
I've seen pictures of her, and I've seen that, and
Very proud of that young lady.
well, and that's what I thought. And I have no, I should know who it is. I remember seeing it,
Yeah.
and to me, it was kind of impressive. I
Yeah.
mean,
I think yeah, Cameron Wood. And,
yeah, that's it.
yeah, she went to state. And I mean, I was cheering her on the whole time. I was texting updates with her dad, asking her how she's doing and everything. And I can't remember how she placed good though, and I'm proud of her, that's awesome.
I remember that. And I thought, I was pretty impressed
Yeah.
with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, I should know the girl. I know because I remember her parents,
Mm-hmm.
but that's one of those. But it's yeah. So it's good for the school kids. I know that it can make money for the golf course. It can make money for and if the golf course is making money, that's making money for the city.
Amen.
And just having the golf course there, I know that last year it finally made money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for years it's always lost, and if it's making money now,
Yeah.
well, and I go to the city council meetings. I've gone to them for years. That's why my picture's been on all the signs, because everybody's seen his face. Probably scared a lot of little kids or something. But I mean, it's making money instead of losing money finally, which is an awesome thing. And so obviously it's a resource now instead of a liability. And as it continues to make money, that's good. And I know that they just bought an aerator, I believe it was. It was a new piece of equipment that's going to continue to improve its profits. So,
Yeah, well, that's
it
important.
just,
Well, little towns like Mountain View, you don't make a ton of money from. I mean, we're a small town, so your sales tax revenue is going to be this, and your revenue from this is going to be this, So how a little town survives is having little fingers in everything with different avenues for money to come in. That's the only way for small towns to make it. We cannot rely solely on sales tax. We cannot rely solely on whatever else brings in money. It's all those combined is what makes cities of our size run.
exactly. And just like I said, that, he bought this new piece of equipment that, no, it's not, it saved, oh, I'm wanting to say like seven or $8,000 a year, which no, that's not a terrible amount of money, or a terrible
Yeah.
big amount of money. But
That's
if every
$8,000.
department can save $7,000 a year.
Yeah, that adds up
Well,
quick.
exactly. And in a town our size, that's a pretty good little chunk of money.
Absolutely.
And so we got to give a big shout out to the manager for
Absolutely.
saving that money.
Yeah.
And so that's money that can be spent somewhere else.
And they are so friendly. Like you got me on the golf course, and now I'm going to be bragging on the golf course because I love golf. I figured out it is my mistress of life is golf. I absolutely love the sport. But you go out there, the people in the pro shop are friendly. Used to whenever I went out there was no one in the pro shop. Couldn't even pay to golf. That was a problem several times I went out there, and I was like, it's closed. I can't golf. Because I have to rent a cart. I don't own a cart. But the people in there are friendly. The greens are maintained. The fairways are mowed. My family, we go out there all the time now, and I'm renting a golf cart and I'm buying drinks in the pro shop, and I'll go get some balls because I lose a notorious amount of balls, and my wife attests to that. She can pretty much whoop me around the golf course because she's a lot better than I am. But I'm going to beat her. I'm going to eventually beat her at golf. That's my summer. That's my summer goal, is to shoot better than her.
Well, and thank you for supporting our city.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't worry, it's an addiction now, and yeah, it's becoming a problem.
But see, and you're one of the ones that right there, you're part of why the golf course is like it is.
Yeah.
And as long as he keeps it where it is, well, and it doesn't need to stay where it is. It needs to continue to improve.
Yeah.
And as it improves, you're an advertisement for that golf
Yeah,
course.
I am. I love
And
that place.
well, yeah, and as it improves, you're going to continue to bring in more people.
Yeah.
And as more people come in, then it can continue to improve more. And when you're in town, what's the likelihood that you're going to spend some money buying something?
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
because as your wife's going to tell you,
Yeah.
we're going to stop and eat because I ain't cooking after I walked around out here.
Exactly. Or we got to stop and get those energy drinks that she loves so much,
There you
Alani's. Shout out Alani, but oh my gosh, they taste good. I mean, but always got to have them for golf,
Well, yeah, and you've got to go and buy something. You've got to have energy drinks. And,
Yeah.
and after you get done, you've got a daughter, and she's got to go and get something to eat.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
how many people are going to be just like that?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's a snowball effect. You spend a little money, go golfing, you're going to spend more money.
Exactly. See, and that's why we've got to get the roads better, and and if we just get the roads better from the golf course down to downtown,
To the tire shop, you're going to make enough money to just run it because I'll pay I'll blow my paycheck there for you, I guess.
there you go. So we bring you right down to the restaurants, and that's all we need.
Yeah, yeah. Now, by the way, since we're on here and everything, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. You showed up to the town hall. You've been nothing but transparent. I really appreciate your time, man. This is great to have us sit down and talk about these issues.
Well, Devin, thank you for doing it. You really do a good job.
Yeah, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we end tonight?
I can't think of it. I've probably ran my mouth too much.
All right. You want to give one last bid to the voters since tomorrow's election? Why should they pick you?
Because I'm cute. No,
Why
Well,
should they vote for Rick?
Why should they vote for Rick? Well, I've got a vision for the town. I've got lots of time to do it. I see what's there.
Okay.
It just, and I'm here for you. If you've got something that's on your mind, holler at me.
Okay. Well,
I'm open. I'm ready.
we really appreciate your time tonight, man. Thanks for coming and sitting down with me. And good luck tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Deb.
All right, guys. This was my interview with Mr. Rick Thornton, running for West Side Alderman, and voting day is tomorrow. In my opinion, one of the most consequential elections for the city of Mountain View. Get out, vote, learn about the propositions that are going to be on the ballot tomorrow for the county. Got a way you can freeze your property tax indefinitely. Don't have to pay any more tax. It just won't add up. So it's something you guys really need to look in. I think that is Prop 3. But yeah, be an educated voter. Thank you guys for watching tonight, and we will see you again soon. Cheers, guys.